Hi y'all, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Ann.
Hi, I'm Pam.
Hi, I'm Marie, and we are coming to you live from Austin, Texas, because it's
Happy
Wednesday! Hey everyone, happy Wednesday! We hope you're having a good day. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Pretty good. It's kind of chilly here today.
Too much.
A little bit.
We're in the 30s, which is kind of chilly for us, but it's a beautiful February day, and we're super glad to be back with you and finish our Birds of a Feather exhibit. So y'all ready to get started?
Ready.
Yay! Okay, we're going to get going. Thanks everyone for being here, and I'm going to pop over on my screen right here so we can see you. And if you can't see us or you can hear us, but you can't see us, then please refresh your screen. And if that doesn't work, click on videos and go to videos and look for the 0207 Woolly Wednesday. I see us. How about you guys, Ann?
We're good.
We're good. Okay. So I'm going to turn my sign down. Oh, hi everyone. Look at how many people are here. Thank you for being here. If you're brand new, if this is your first time, we are Living Felt. We are a felting supply company based in Austin, Texas, but we ship and have friends all over the world. And what you'll see is everyone saying hi and where they're from. And then sometimes they tell us about the weather too, which is kind of fun. So I just want to say hi to a couple of people. There's Kathleen in Orange County, California, and Sandra's in Tucson, Maria in Florida, Fraser in the UK. We have some friends. In the UK and Australia. Sherry Tamburo from Shreveport. I've lived there. Ruth in Batavia. That's so awesome to see you all. And today we actually shipped a Color Me Happy bundle all the way to Singapore. So that's pretty exciting for us. Super fun. Thanks for being here with you guys. We are going to resume our Birds of a Feather exhibit today and show you all the other beautiful creations that we have here in the store. What I want to tell you, for those of you who are seeing this for the first time, this is an exhibit that we're doing of creations made by our friends, our community members that you see right here. And they sent us in their creations to be on exhibit here in the store through the end of February. So we have sculptures and we have wall hangings and we have big and small. We did a previous filming, broadcast of a Birds of a Feather exhibit. Was it now 2 weeks ago, Ann? Ann's going to post a link to that video so that if you're watching later and you haven't caught that, then you can watch back. And we're going to share these with you today, and hopefully you'll find some inspiration. Our group theme this year is Explore, Expand, Stretch. And so we had our friends send in their creations so that we can all look at them and think about what we might like to try to create ourselves. So we're going to get started, and I think Pam is going to present our first one.
Hi, everybody. Here's this little guy. This is Hoary Redpoll. And his artist that made him is Jen Cookson. And they're both from up north in the cold. And this is felted with glass eyes. And this was made with a lot of love. And she says it always brightens her days when she makes these little guys, because she dives in and learns all about them, and it's beautiful.
Real close to the camera.
Can y'all see that?
Real focus here. Not close. Come on in a little bit more.
Coming in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get him to focus. There we go. There we go. He needs like a finger or something to focus.
Oh, okay.
So bring your.
Bam.
Nice. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you, Jen. It's beautiful.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? Alrighty, I got a couple little show and tells today. This is our first little guy. He's a little baby emu. I just thought he was too cute. And he is from Tanny Schulner. Saulnier. So Tammy Saulnier in Canada. And it's Dragon Song Studios is going to be her studios. do have a card. See, that's gonna be hers.
Bring it right in. Let's focus on the Etsy shop. There we go. Wishmaker Creations.
Yeah, so this little guy is made with, it feels like a batting, and another really cool little thing about him is all of his little arms are bendable and posable, which I thought was real neat. He's got pretty cool little glass eyes in there. So that's that guy. Thank you so much, Tammy, for sending him. Alrighty. And then I've got this little guy. He's real neat. He can hang, which I thought was pretty cool. And this is Karen Englebretson. I'm so sorry, y'all. Me and names are just horrible. But this little guy was made. It looks like he's got some floral wire decorating his feet and his little stem. Also holding his little leaves and berries on. The berries are super cute. And I also love this little detail that Karen put in. She used a little bit of what looks like cut paper to do his feathers on his tail and on his wings, which I thought was a neat little way to incorporate a different medium in there. But isn't he fun? Awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Hannah. Aren't these fun, y'all? I'm going to swing back. We have a card. Oh, can I get the card? For the Hoary Redpoll, I wanted to hold up Jen Cookson's card. And it is right here just so you can see her name. And she is in Canada as well. So that is the first little birdie over here that we saw. And Hannah's on the phone, so what I'm going to do is jump in and do one of mine. We're each picked our favorite ones. Not favorite, but we each had to pick something to share. And I want to point out, I won't take them down, this beautiful Princess of Wales parakeet. It is such a pretty wall hanging. Maybe I could bring him down. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I can bring him down. And let me see if I can just fill up your frame with this gorgeous bird. How are we doing, Hannah?
A little bit back.
This way?
Just back. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Sandy said, so Sandy got a wet felting tools bundle from us. And this background here is actually the burlap bag that her wet felting tools bundle came in. And she said that she just needed to put the bag to use and couldn't see it going to waste. So what I love about this piece is it's really finished. She, of course, sewed, edging to the piece, and she left the back. The back actually has a fabric over it as well. So this is another type of linen fabric that you can tell to some degree she went back and needle felted over, and she sewed in this little loop so that you could put the pole through it. Let me see if she told us anything else. She says she machine felted onto the burlap haphazardly until she saw the image of a bird appear, and then everything else came from there. Isn't that fun? Super, super fun. So again, that is Sandy Kramer, and she's in Arizona. I'll show you. I don't think she has a website, but I'll just hold that in so you can see. Super cool. We love hosting everyone's artwork. It's just been such a treat to see. Let's see if I can get it back up there. I did it. Super cool, super cool. Okay, I'll put her card back down. I'll take you to little and big, and then Ann is going to do some of hers also. So let me show you this little cutie pie. This is a little hen. I'll try and get out of the screen so you can see. I love her flirty little feathers sticking up. And I wonder if someone can tell me, do you know what color MC1 that is? This is MC1 over core wool, and she has wired feet. And this little beauty comes from Kim Mahlbacher, and we own her, so she is forever going to be in the store gracing our shelves for display. And this is MC1 Sand. MC1 Sand. Such a perfect little color. Anne said that her family used to own hens, and she said that these were big birds. It's called a buff Orpington. I've never heard of that. A buff Orpington hen. And what do I want to tell you about it? She says that she has her own chickens and they inspire her to needle felt chickens as well. And she says that about her chickens that she fed them cranberries once, like one time on the back porch. And now they all gather there and tap on her glass door waiting for more. And she gives in. She gives in. So what else I love about this little bird is her tag. Sometimes we show you their tags. And tell me, can you see that, Hannah? Can you see her little button? It's so precious. And if y'all want custom tags for your work, what you might do is look on Etsy. Because on Etsy, there's all kinds of little independent sellers who make things like this.
And Vicki Ryan was asking if the feathers are wet felted?
No, I think these are just all needle felted. They all just feel like they've been needle felted. They don't feel like they've been wet felted. And you can see where they're attached, you know, where they've been needle felted in place right there. So they just feel to me like they've been needle felted. They don't feel like they've been wet felted. Are there any other questions so far?
Do the feathers have any wire in them?
No, they don't.
Ask Katie.
They don't have any wire in them. They don't. I don't know how she achieved that shape, and we didn't bring these in, you know, for the goal of tutorials, so I didn't ask about it, but they don't have any wire in them at all. They're just wool, and they're just adorable. So I don't quite know how she shaped them like that. And maybe they were wet felted, but they just don't seem like it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Are you going to make... Oh. I know, isn't this fun? Okay, so let's see, what else is it? These are my 3, and then I'll show you this great big snowy owl, and we'll see if we can get Anne back in here to show you the ones that she chose. So, this beautiful snowy owl is so large and so stately. How are we doing on, can you see him enough?
You can't see the bottom part of him.
Yeah, he's so big that I have to kind of stand back. But let me get up real close so you can see like the sheen on his feathers. You see that? He feels like he's mostly merino and merino silk blends. And I love his big, huge feet. Do those show up?
A little bit higher.
Higher?
Yes. Maybe tilted.
This way? This way.
Yeah.
See his big feet? And there's clay on the end, so there's wire. You can feel that there's clay there. It just feels like a regular, you know, baking clay. And his big, beautiful tail feathers as well. He's very softly felted, so I want to be delicate with him and not ruffle up his feathers. The whole thing, he doesn't even weigh 12 ounces, even with his armature. It's so amazing to me that he could be so big and not weigh very much. He's so beautiful. So let me show you, I don't know if I showed you everyone's card. I'll make sure that we do. So this is, this snowy owl is by Karen Fish. She's in Michigan, and her business is called Random Acts of Fiber. And she says that she loves the snowy owls because she sees them up there in Michigan where she is, and she just finds them such an inspiration. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I did and while you were gone, I did this, and the hen. So you'll come back and do our chickadee and your bird in the... Okay.
Alrighty. So this one here, I'm just in love with. This is called Terror Bird by Rachel Carter in Oregon. We'll just turn him around so you can get the full. Terror bird, the phrase terror bird is a colloquialism for a group of large carnivorous flightless birds that ruled South America 2 million years ago. And Rachel says that she learned about them when she was little and has just always loved them. And I also really, really like fossils and dinosaurs and flightless birds. There's something about flightless birds. Mm-hmm. They're awesome. I don't know. So this is Terror Bird. He is made with MC1 batting and some feathers on his tail.
Wait, those are from her chickens.
Those are from her chickens.
I think so.
Oh, the feathers are from her chickens. So
this is Terror Bird, and Rachel's business name is Rock and Flower Felt. Here is her card. Alrighty, and again, he is for sale. The artwork can be purchased by contacting the artist directly. Okay, this next one is called Winging It by Rebecca Irene Hostetter. And Rebecca shares that she was just captivated by one of Moy McKay's books on felting, and they're amazing books, both of them. And that she saw this one in the book, and it was just an example page. There weren't any instructions, so she had to wing it to recreate it. But pun intended. That was her pun. I can't take credit for that. And the thing that she was most excited to share about this was that it was made using art felt paper. Which the art felt paper allows you to get some detail and is easier on your hands. So I'm going to get in a little closer so you can see all of these fun embellishments. I love this texture. Alrighty, I want to make sure that I show the photo as well. This was the photo from Moy McKay's book, Art in Felt and Stitch. She has another book called Flowers in Felt and Stitch, and both of them are great, great books.
Karen Zeller asked, is it a wall hanging?
It is a wall hanging. And then I want to make sure to show this is the card for information.
Perfect.
Alrighty, and then we've got here this little chickadee by Debbie Penley in Pennsylvania. Love this. I love the colors. He's made with the batting, and he's got some beads for eyes. And Debbie shares that this was a project that she was working with for her local Audubon Society, and just loved. Says that everybody loves chickadees. And I think that's true.
That's true.
Everybody loves the chickadee.
Her street posted, love chickadees.
Yes. Any other questions or comments?
Actually, someone asked about that bird, whether there's embroidery on it. So can you show that wall hanging you just did up close?
Yes.
Go ahead and get it right up close to the camera so they can see.
There is a lot of embroidery on here. There's a lot of fun texture.
So she's used yarn here and yarn here. Come over this way a little bit. And we'll get straight. There we go. See her signature there, her initials. So that's wet felted and stitched, and some needle felting maybe. Okay. Where is the art paper? Oh, they wanted to know where's the art paper.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm almost dropping the holder here. Okay, so the art felt paper is on the back. You can see here. So she attached the wool to the art felt paper.
Yeah, this might be an additional stabilizer because the art felt paper gets washed away in the wet felting process. Usually you boil it away, and that might be an additional stabilizer. It might be, yeah, to stitch over. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Oh, Laura Burke says, can you explain how the art felt paper is used?
Absolutely. So you can apply your design directly to the art felt paper, and then using needles, using your needle felting, and then you can roll that product up and then put it in the washing machine. And I think there's some dryer. You put it in the dryer a couple of times, and that's how it felted down. Okay.
Is that it on there? Let's see. what is art felt paper? Oh, it's felt paper. Okay, you want me to explain?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, so about the art felt paper, we sell art felt paper and we just posted a link to it. And art felt paper is basically a substrate to tack down your fiber to and kind of hold the fibers together while you do more of a mechanized felting in your dryer. So in this case and in other cases, actually my friend Anita just brought in some scarves that she made the other day on the art felt paper. So what you would do with a design like this is needle felt your design. You would put your art felt paper down and needle felt your design on top, and then you wet the whole thing. They don't even recommend using soap. They just use water. So you wet down the whole thing, the paper's on the back, your design's in the middle, and then you put plastic or some protector on top, and you roll the whole thing up with usually a wet core. A wet core is usually like a wet towel or hand towel. And then you slip that into pantyhose, like a stocking, and throw that in the dryer and let it thud around. And what will happen is the banging of the dryer, that's your agitator, will felt the fibers. You do lose some control of how things shrink when you do that, but some people do it because it's easier on their body or easier on their hands. My friend Anita said she did some of hers like that, and then one she wrapped around a pool noodle. And she said that the pool noodle all scrunched down, which was interesting because it gave it some really nice shibori effects that were unintended, but I think would be good to experiment with. So the art felt paper is available in a few different sizes on our website. We only posted a link to one. And again, it's going to reduce the amount of time you roll by hand so that you felt in the dryer. When you're done felting in the dryer, then you melt the paper away, basically. It dissolves in hot water, and you're left with your piece. Okay? That good? Good, 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 good. And so that was Winging It. Her business is called Wool Diaries. So thank you for that. And she really wanted to encourage people to try the art felt paper. That was her reason for doing that project. So can we just have a round of applause for everybody's piece, and thank you to everyone for being willing to share their pieces and bring them in. Just really appreciate that, and it's brightening up the place so much to have this visiting artwork here with us. So I think I should share mine too. I'll share my little bird. This is the Japanese robin that I've been working on, and this is my first study, if you will, as a wet felted and needle felted piece. And this piece is wet felted merino wool and needle felted merino wool and some MC1 here in the wings and just a little bit here on the chest. But for the most part, it's all merino top. And I shared process pictures, not super detailed, but I shared process pictures in a photo album right here in our group if y'all want to give something like that a try. But he's been lots of fun for me, my new little subject.
He's getting lots of love.
He is. Thank you.
Real quickly, going back to the art felt paper, we have a couple questions come in. Sonia Weeksall's wants to know, so could you use the paper in combo with a resist?
Could you use the paper in what format? That's an interesting question. I'd be interested to know in what context do you want to use that. Like, give us an example. I'm definitely willing to try it. I haven't done much felting in the dryer myself, but it might be fun just to kind of throw caution to the wind and give up some control and let it do what it does. So I'm interested to see what suggestions you have, Sonia. That sounds fun.
And then a couple of our felting friends want to know, will we ever have an art felt paper demo on Woolly Wednesday?
Yeah, I think we can do that, but what's going to have to be sort of like the bun in the oven, like the cooking shows, because we don't have a dryer here that we can bang it around in. So what we'd have to do is do the project together. We'd have to begin the project and then show you what we did and then show you the end result. We could maybe melt away the paper and show you the finish, but we don't have a dryer here that we could tumble it in. to do that. So we'll put that on our list of things to do. It's not going to be in the next 2 weeks just because we have so much happening, but I will definitely put it on the list.
And Sonia shares that she was wondering if it could be used like for a vessel to stabilize until it felts.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. You mean so like use the art felt paper as a resist? I think because of the way you tack it down, you'd have to play with it and play with something small. Because if you have long fibers and then you wrap them around, gosh, I don't know, Sonia. That's a really interesting question because the dryer doesn't burn away the art felt paper; it stays. That's an interesting question. I think you should be the one to tell us the answer. I do. I think you should be the one. I brought in, let's see, Sharon says the problem with using it as a resist is you use the needles to attach, right? And then you'd be poking through the resist. She's saying maybe, that's what I was thinking. You'd be poking through the resist. So you'd almost have to have a real resist inside, needle tack it down, and then take that resist out and then roll it up and throw it in the dryer. Or you could put plastic inside or even bubble wrap inside when you throw it in the dryer if you're concerned about any of those edges touching. But yeah, I think you should give it a try. Fiber sticks to the art felt paper so it wouldn't work as a resist. I think this seems like a challenge, a challenge question, and somebody ought to give it a go. Somebody ought to give it a go. Okay. Oh yeah, Sonia's going to be here next week, so she says she'll try it.
Leslie Lansing asks, could you wet felt a piece and then put the art felt paper on top so you could needle felt your pattern on top of the wet felted wool?
Yes, but then, okay, so who asked that?
Leslie Lansing.
Okay, so Leslie asked, could you felt your piece and then put the art felt paper on top and then needle felt your design on top? The art felt paper, the art felt paper is there just so that you don't have to do the rolling. So I don't know that you need the art felt paper to do what you're supposing. I don't understand where it comes into place. Fraser. Fraser, you need to go to my personal page if you want to know about my sewing. Because I posted something in the last 2 days. Funny.
Real quick, a couple of our felting friends are loving the flower that you're wearing.
Oh.
I want to know who made it.
I made it. Oh, I lost it. I made this garish, obnoxious, uneven flower. And I wore it today because so many people are been posting springy things, and this really obnoxious flower is like old merino top, merino silk blend in black currant, and then like a magenta wool, there's probably even MC1 color in the middle, and then this is just a novelty yarn. If you look real close, it's just some crazy little novelty yarn that I needle felted in there. And this is made with our Wet Felting a Flower kit, which shows you how to make a layered flower. And in that layered flower, let me grab another one because I want to show y'all. Would you grab the plain white and the plain green? Our kit comes with multiple colors, but what's fun about this process is you can make your leaves like super ruffly or super pointy like this. And you make it all at one time. And if it doesn't stick, if you have a challenge, well, then you can just needle felt it together. Thank you, Anne. So this is an example of something that was made with the same process. It's got more ruffly leaves. And this Super Mac Daddy was made with the same process, but made with all pointy leaves. So the kit teaches you how to sort of make your petals a little more rounded, and they cluster together and get kind of ruffly like this. Or you can make them more pointy, which is how we teach you how to make the petals underneath the flower. And then you needle felt the center in place. And like I said, we show you how to wet felt in layers, and if that doesn't work, you can just needle felt it all together or stitch it all together.
And Kate Williams asks, novelty yarn, when you work with novelty yarn, does the yarn have to be wool or can you use acrylic?
Oh, no.
How do you work with the acrylic?
When I say novelty yarn, that's what I mean. Just inexpensive wool, inexpensive yarn. And this is needle felted in. So you'll see that in our wet felting and our needle felting, we'll use novelty yarns, so acrylics are made of all kinds of things, and they don't have to be wool to felt them in. You just have to anchor them down with wool. That's it, because they don't felt themselves. So yeah, use any kind of yarn, any kind of yarn that you like and inspires you. Okay, cool.
And real quickly,
Yes.
Diana Densmore asked, someone mentioned that we can find those little sculpt tags on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's having trouble with the search terms. Do they have a proper name?
Oh, search custom tags on Etsy. In fact, what we can do is maybe start a separate topic, because we did a whole Woolly Wednesday where we showed lots of these tags and signatures, right, Anne? It was sometime last year, and we had a lot of our artist friends tell us where we got them. Now, this would have been one of our first ever Woolly Wednesdays, the beginning of last year. But search on Etsy for custom tags, T-A-G-S, and I think you'll find them. I do. Lots of people are getting them. And we do ask that people don't link out, but they're welcome to name the Etsy shop. If they want to share where they got them from, they're welcome to name the Etsy shop. We just try to keep traffic from going out all the time in the group, and that's the easy way to do it. Okay. Okay, good. And Anne, would you post a link to the flower kit? So Anne's going to post a link to the flower kit if y'all want to see it. It's super fun. I don't know if we have a download for the flowers, but anyway, it's available to you, and it's a great little project, and it's fun to share, and our kit comes with a bunch of colors. So I want to show you, I think we started to share needle felting a bird last time we did this exhibit, and I've had a lot happen in the last 2 weeks. So my little bird buddy is much delayed. And I've been working on my little Japanese robin with a closed wing and an open wing. And like I said, I'm so behind that this is where I am. But people were asking about felting individual feathers and working on the wings. So since this is our last day on this topic, I wanted to show you kind of what I have in the works and get you thinking about it. And I'll just explain it. And we'll hopefully this guy will be a whole little kit or some kind of tutorial for you. So am I doing okay, Anne? Mm-hmm. Okay, Anne's giving me the thumbs up. I get my little wing straight. So I want to show this to you guys just so you can start to see maybe how this would flesh out, and then I'm going to explain it. So I have these little individual feathers on wire, and they're just needle felted. And I'm going to put these on the body, some with wire and some without, one at a time for my closed winged bird based on my original photograph. And these are all made on just this little skinny wire. We're actually going to have this wire in the store soon, before the end of the week. This wire was recommended to us by Kiyoshi, who is coming here to do the workshop in August. So this is the same kind of wire that he likes to use for his birds. And it's just a little very thin 24 gauge wire. We have it ready, I just need to get it photographed. And what I want to show you is that the individual feathers are just been needle felted over the wire with MC1 batting. And I actually just took a super thin layer of the batting and cut it. And then I'm putting the wire in the middle, folding it over, and then needle felting it into place. Even when so that'll be whether I'm making a little tiny feather with wire, or if it's not going to have wire, you can just slide it off. I have one here. You can just slide it off the wire if you want it to have no wire, and that way you can apply them individually. So you don't have to wet felt them. Now when you see people wet felting the feathers, what they're doing often is making a single piece of fabric and then sewing the wire like right on top. With their needle has to go back and forth back. What's that stitch? I meant to look that up this morning. I don't know what it's called. But the needle, you know, the wire would be, they would cut the fabric into the shape of the feather, lay the wire on top, and then the needle go back and forth. In some cases, you could also sandwich the wool around the wire, or sandwich the wire in between the wool and stitch it in place. But you don't have to wet felt it. You can just needle felt it and needle felt in little tiny layers. But let me show you some other feathers for y'all to look at. Now, Maybe some of you saw that amazing rooster that Jennifer Field posted in our group, and I Instagrammed it. Just gorgeous blue and green, which if I ever get a chance to make another one of those roosters, I'm going to go for those crazy colors that she uses. This is, some of y'all have seen this. This is my unfinished rooster from a class she taught here a couple of years ago. And this is her own design. So, you know, if you make one, definitely you want to credit her as the inspiration. Jennifer Field was a toy designer, and she's also a metalsmith. So she combines different techniques from her past lives in art. And this rooster is built out of several layers of actually wet felted MC1 cut, and sometimes, in some cases, wet felted some more and then needle felted into place. So this was made in a Jennifer Field's workshop here, and I haven't ever finished him. His beak lives and his eyeballs live, but I've never finished him. I have commitment issues, I think, with artwork. So these are, see how they're wet felted and cut into shape, and in some cases, when people are wiring the feathers, they stitch that wire right on there, and it could be underneath or on top or sandwiched in the middle. Yeah. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, and this is the last one I wanted to share. Another bird made in another Jennifer Field workshop. Again, no eyes. I'm like kind of fine with my sculpture's missing parts. A lot of dolls have no ears. I have dolls with no arms on purpose. But again, this is her similar process where she had us wet felt components and then needle felt them together. And in some cases, the component is needle felted on. But I just want to encourage you all to think outside the box and to feel like, you know, there are no rules. When you look at what these artists are doing, you know, this is a great example of these little wings. They're so precious. And then she adds, rather than adding a bunch of feathers, she used white to add the detail, or little bits of dark to make it look like what would be feathers on the bird. So, or where these are individual, this is, you know, sculpted into place so it looks like feathers. Think outside the box and allow yourself, you know, to explore. This little guy too. They're like just big pieces with the white on top.
And Amberly Barnes asks, what would survive the test of time better, needle or wet felting feathers?
Well, it depends on what you're going to do with it. If it's sitting on a shelf, it doesn't really matter. And you can needle felt and compact something really well. And especially if it's flush. So I don't think it matters. I think it depends on what will be done with the item. If it's sitting on a shelf, and if the feathers, whether wet felted or needle felted, are very loose, they're going to tend to grab more dust than something that's been really well felted. That's what I find, is something that's really loose and kind of floaty in the wind tends to trap dust. So you might want to dust it a little more often. And in my house, we just use a feather duster. Believe it or not, a feather duster often on our sculptures, because I have lots of wool around my house that's just kind of loose. Okay, I wanted to show one more, I thought. Oh, on this guy, the wings are flush, and I want to show a little more detail on this Cedar Waxwing. I love, he almost is like a watercolor in a sense, because things aren't like super defined. Am I getting in a good place on the camera? His wings aren't super defined. They're more like a suggestion, like a watercolor with this little bit of detail. And so you could be as subtle as this. And then when you get to the legs in the wood, and can you see that detail of the wire wrapped around? Does it show that there's, can you see? I'm trying to get some light on that.
Yes, okay, there.
That is wire, like copper wire in the feet, and then it's wrapped with like a paper or some kind of, I don't know, it looks like a paper wire. I don't have that kind of wire. I just want to show that detail. So think outside the box and allow yourself, you know, to do something different and free. What else?
Okay. Sonia asks, do felted wool fibers relax over time?
And so do you mean will they droop? And I think that if you mean will they droop, I think that you might have to look at the moisture where you are, because if they do gather moisture, then they will, you know, tend to droop, and so you might look at how much you need to felt them. If they're felted like really well into a shape, my experience is that they hold their shape. But if they're loose already and heavy, and you live in a place with a lot of moisture, it might be that they get so heavy that they droop.
Karen Englebretson shares that the wire is wrapped with waxed linen.
Oh, waxed linen. I've never had that, but I think I'd like it. I think it looks neat. Thank you very much for that, Karen. Yeah, I really like it. It must come in a bunch of colors. You'll have to PM me if you would. Even though you're in Canada. She's in Canada, I think, right?
Minnesota.
Oh, you're in Minnesota. Well then, girl, you're stateside, so if you PM me, I would love for us to be able to offer it and carry it too. I think it's really great and adds a really nice finished touch where if instead of clay or wool, it seems like a really nice option. Cool. Anything else? Have a lot of that. It's melting. It just sits there. Sue, where are you? And I would just look at how stiff is something felted. How stiff is something felted? How hard is something felted? Because we have pieces that definitely hold their shape over time, and we live in a pretty humid place. Don't you say, Anne? We do. We live in a pretty humid place. Well, I just think, you know, I just want to applaud everyone again and say thank you so much to everyone, for our friends who are coming here to visit or people who live close. We'll have all of these guys on exhibit through the end of February. And if you saw something you like between this episode or the last episode, just reach out and contact the artist. We're not playing a role in selling any of their work except for the pieces that I had to buy. Am I? Or some were gifted to us. Like, so this little emu was gifted to us by Tammy Saulnier. So he'll be here in the shop too. So a couple of them will still be here. And I just want to say, you know, great job to everyone and thank you so much. We would like to do another exhibit if you all are interested in that. And I think there could be some really fun things to do. So this summer, I think we should do a Beachy Sea exhibit. We'll probably limit the number, and all you'll have to do is get your artwork to us and then we'll get it back to you. So I do want to do a Beachy Sea, and I do think that we should also do like a wild thing, which is like, could be anything that fits within the wild thing category. So we'll be posting those soon. If you'd like to participate, think about something you'd like to submit, and if you want to submit a topic, email friends@customerservice.com and let us know what you think would be good themes for some exhibits, because I think we could probably do at least a few a year. Yeah.
And real quickly, can we show the artist card for the owl one more time? Laura Munoz would like to see it.
Yep. This is for Karen Fish, Random Acts of Fiber. Am I in? Okay, good. Very good, very good.
We are getting a lot of response to another exhibit. Everyone's really excited.
Isn't it fun? It's fun for us too. Trust me, like we get to be that much closer to you and connected to you and what you do. So we want to see it. Now, listen, so we have a few other questions to answer. I'm going to take a quick break and let Anne answer something, one of our customer requests. So before she does that, let me tell you, we always post an opportunity to submit questions to us before the broadcast. And everyone who submits questions gets entered into a drawing, and everybody who contributes in some way gets their name put into a hat, and we always give away prizes at the end. So Anna's going to answer a question that came in previously. Thank you.
Okay, this question is coming from Laura Devers Ebert, and she said that she would like to see some jewel tones in merino top. We just pulled a few of our favorites to show today. We have a lot that we think could qualify. So these are just some of them. Okay, we're gonna start from the top right here. This is Bordeaux, Iris, Tide Pool, Evergreen, Cornflower, Saffron, here we go, Teal, and this one right here is Evening. And these are all 19.5 microns. Some of these are new colors. They're very, very gorgeous.
I wonder if you can get a hold of them.
Get a
So
hold of
kind
them?
of together.
Yeah, absolutely. Do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Okay,
Do that?
here we go. I think so.
Anne's mad.
It's
Maybe
gonna
you
work.
can get most of them. Anne's mad mashing skills. She's gonna grab them for you.
Okay, this is gonna work.
Get all but one.
Okay, this is a matter of pride now. Here we go.
Anne's a determined girl. Okay, maybe
We're gonna
4
do-
at a time.
Let's do 4 at a time. Okay,
Nice.
here we go.
Okay, so we're Bordeaux, Iris, I don't have my glasses on, teal, and cornflower. Nice. Everyone's laughing. Very good. Okay, tide pool, evergreen, saffron, and evening. All together. Very nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Anne.
Absolutely. I love getting to show all the pretty colors.
Everyone says they love your hair.
Aw, thank you. It's fun.
Oh, okay, good. All right. I know that it was Laura who asked about this. So she asked about her wet felting. So I want to respond to that. And Laura asked for that question, and then right before then she also posted that when she goes to wet felt, once she wets, her design spreads, and she wants to know how she can stay within the pattern. So one thing I want to tell you is when you're making a stack of fiber in order to make a shape, you want to really start to learn how to control the edges. The more even all those layers are, not even just across the board, but even where the edges line up, then that's going to make a more unified perimeter. However, as soon as you wet these fibers, they are going to expand because you're putting in the water and you're pressing all the air out. So they are going to expand, and then you just want to work on how to shrink them back in. A lot of wall hangings or whatever shapes are also then folded under, tucked underneath. So that is sometimes how the perimeter is controlled, because you're always going to have some little trailing ends of fiber off the edge. So it's just kind of part of the process. There's no way to sort of mash it and wet it without it spreading out. I think that's probably the case with anything. A t-shirt, a dish towel, it wouldn't really matter. It's gonna, spread out as you smash all the air out. Okay. Linda says, will the same colors come in MC1? Linda, MC1 and Merino Top are dyed in 2 completely different places. So the best thing you can do is just get as close as you can. MC1 right now, I think we dye, well, we have in over 86 or 87 colors. We know that at least 80 of those are in rotation at any time, but these will never exactly match MC1 or vice versa. They're dyed in completely different places. And we do a lot of blends in MC1 that aren't done at these other mills, so probably not. Okay. God, so people said they've been doing the BFF felt along. Good, good, good. And so that was fun. Thank you everybody for posting your hearts. Next week is Valentine's Day, so we're going to bring all our hearts back, and I'll try and borrow the one that Erin made and bring it in to show. And for those of you who haven't made them, we did a felt along last week during this normal broadcast time slot, and it was super fun, and a lot of people have been posting their heart twirlers. We'll bring ours back next week. Is there anything I need to answer before we move on?
I'm getting clarification on something, and then
Okay, I did see one question come in, so I'm going to swing back. I'm going to swing back to the birds, and someone asked, how would you attach the wired feathers to the bird? And so I want to tell you, I'll try and bring it in when I get a little further along. We're working on a kit tutorial for the birds. If I were doing a bird with open wings, then I would have wire armature already coming out to mount these wings onto. But in this case, I will be cutting off any excess wire, and I will be needle felting the wool, just needle felting the wool to the bird as opposed to the wire. So I'm going to cut off the wire just as closely as I can, and I'll needle felt the wool right onto the body of the bird. So hopefully that helps. The wire is super skinny, and that's also why I say you'll want some feathers with wire where you want that pronunciation, and then some without, so that you don't have the bulk. Because the wire, even though it's very small, does add bulk. Okay. Who made the chicken? Oh, right. A couple of people asked about the chicken, so let me share that one again. So back to the chicken. This is Kim Mahlbacher, and her website is right here. Are we good? Okay. And it's called Heirloom Croft Art in Wool. Is her Etsy. So that's an Etsy. Oh, it's on Facebook, I think, not Etsy. It's on Facebook. So look her up because this one's mine. That's my chicken.
Kate Williams has a question.
Okay.
She's going back to when you were talking about the spread in the wet felting.
Mm-hmm.
She was wondering if you had a frame around your layout with drain holes so the water went out and didn't float the wool, would that help you keep it squared up?
You know, it's a good question, but you're still going to have the bulk. Like you want, so what's being asked is like if you wet felt in a controlled perimeter, will that keep it from spreading out? What you might find is that it starts to raise, just like anything would, because the water has to go somewhere. And those wet fibers, what happens is you're taking all that loft, you know, from layer after layer after layer, and you're pressing it out. So even though you're pressing it out, either you're going to see it wrinkle up in the ends or you're going to see it start to pucker and buckle up. But if you want to control that perimeter, that's okay. You can do that, but then use that maybe to tuck the wool under. You know, the fibers are going to spread. Just decide what you're going to do with it. So in some cases, people like to have an organic edge, you know, like on this piece. And on mine, I had an organic edge, but mine's going to be mounted onto a canvas, so I wanted it to be able to wrap around. So it's going to have to go somewhere, and if you know how anything does, it'll buckle. Either it's going to buckle at the end or buckle in the middle. You know.
And we have a couple questions.
Okay.
Judy Wilson is wondering, what size and gauge of wire are you using in the bird wings?
On those, I'm using a 24 gauge wire. And we're going to have that on the website just in the next couple of days. We have it all ready to go. And so that is, we have other wire here. Usually I use the 22, right, Ann? So this black is a 22, and that's available like 38 yards right on the paddle. And this stuff is going to be about 25 feet long and 24 gauge, so it's a lot more bendy and thin. It's actually noticeable difference between this other wire that we have. Okay.
Can we show the artist card for the Paradise? Sandy
Yes.
Kramer's.
Yes. Okay. So Sandy Kramer's wall hanging, Princess of Wales Parakeet with Hibiscus. Are we good? Okay. Good. Awesome.
And let's see, Karen asks, do you have trouble breaking needles when needle felting over wire?
Who asked that?
Karen Englebretson.
Hi, Karen. I don't personally, and that is just because I'll avoid the wire or I'll go at a really shallow angle. So when I always am looking, you know, if I have TV playing, or for me it's, what's it called?
Netflix.
That's my TV now. I haven't watched TV in 20 years, but Netflix, I'm all, give me. I don't watch, I listen, so I pay attention, but I don't tend to bang into wires. When I do bigger sculptures like the dolls, what I do is I pile so much wool on that I'm not going to hit the wire when possible. Otherwise, go at super shallow angles. That'll be the key.
Kate Williams also asks, why are you wrapping your bird piece around a canvas and not just around a frame? Does the canvas help stabilize it?
Oh, why am I in this one? Why am I going to wrap it around the canvas? Because I want this to hang on the wall by itself. I want it like to hang protruding, you know, and so I have it's only maybe about a 1/2 inch canvas that this was made for, and I'm going to wrap it around the canvas so that then the wool will hang on the wall without a frame. I don't really want it to be framed. I just want the artwork to be squared. So it's just a style preference. Like my husband wants everything behind glass. That's how he likes it, you know, and I like wool just sticking up on a wall somewhere. So how do you like it?
Alrighty, and again, we've had a couple of our fabulous felting friends ask about the feet of the birds, what they're made out of, and how they're attached to the birds.
Oh, okay. So here's something that I want to encourage you to think about. Now, we showed this last time. So when you think about attaching the feet to the birds, and can I ask you a huge favor? Would you look in the basket in my office and see, did I bring any of the wire armature? If you watch back to our first Birds of Feather broadcast on this, what I want to encourage you to do is build an armature that includes the legs. Don't think about adding the legs on after, because balance and stability always becomes a challenge if you want your bird to stand. So build an armature. No, I didn't bring it. So watch back to the previous episode and look at the little armatures I show where you can build the feet into part of the armature. That's going to give you balance. And I learned that doing my little rodents, what do we call them? The rodents of unusual size, Herman, and doing my kangaroo, that it's easier if you build the body and you build the feet in. So everybody has wire, and let's start with the chicken. This is wrapped, looks like with caramel, MC1, just wrapped super thin. This one is wrapped with willow, I think. Willow or driftwood? Driftwood, maybe.
Willow?
What is that?
I think.
So that there, you can tell that there's wire in there, and then they're wrapped with wool. So these are wrapped with wool. Tammy Saulnier's is wrapped with wool. This one's wrapped with wool. This one has no feet. This one, we looked at the Cedar Waxwing, which was waxed linen, and this one has some kind of coating applied on top. It could be glue or Paverpol. Can you see how shiny they are if I hold them up like that?
Yes.
And these feet might be added on after. I don't know. I can't tell. But he stands beautifully because he's so squat. And his little tail hits the table, you know, as well. So that helps him balance. So my suggestion is, although on our blog we have an old tutorial on making bird feet, my experience is you're going to get the balance if you build your armature with the feet inside.
Okay, and can we show Karen Englebretson's artist card one more time?
Okay, sure.
And then the artist card for the Waxwing.
That is the Waxwing. And okay, so her business is KJE Felties. And there's her card. That's for the Waxwing, and that is Carol Englebretson right there. That's her card. Are we good?
You're good.
Okay, so I want to answer just a couple of other questions that came in just to throw in as part of this episode. And someone asked to see our pre-felt and said it was Pam Golding who says she's used the pre-felt and she wanted to know how to use it in a picture. Kate asked about the pre-felt and shrinkage. We talked on shrinkage along with her question. I brought in just a small piece. This is the smallest size of our PFM pre-felt that we carry. This is a very delicate pre-felt. It's very thin. It's gorgeous. It's easy to cut. We sell it in a variety of colors. It's very thin. You can even tear it apart. You can see, like, you could split it into layers so you can see how delicate it is. This is really great to cut and use as inlays in your wet felting. You can use it as a base layer for wet felting. You can use it as we saw with Erin did her heart with us last week. She used it as like the middle of her felted heart and put wool on the outside. You could use it as a standalone, you know, meaning you could make double layers of this and make a scarf out of it or something. But it's not ideal for needle felting onto because there's too much shrinkage still left available. So if you want to make a wet felted base for a picture, you can use this, but think of it just as being like 2 thin layers of merino, like if you were hand drafting it out, maybe 2 thin layers, because this will just felt down to nothing. It's sort of like either a quick start or great for cutting and doing inlays. It's not ideal for pictures. So Alana Clear Lake Tanner had asked about using pre-felt for pictures or what to use for a picture background. We've promised to do a more in-depth video on that and talk about some different backgrounds, but I wanted to let you know that if you were doing a picture that you wanted to needle felt, I wouldn't suggest starting with this. This is really a great way to start a wet felting project or something thin or a little wrist cuff or something like that. So I know we're out of time. We're out of time. We're going to give away our prizes. Let me answer one more question and let you know, Alana, that we are going to address your question. It's actually been sitting on my desk for a couple of weeks, so we're going to do a standalone video to talk about backgrounds, choosing a background fabric or pre-felt for your work, and how that might impact or not impact the design. And then one person posted, and I didn't grab the name before I came, and they said, could we show our merino pre-silk merino silk blends, and maybe we could show one every episode. I don't know if we'll do that. Maybe we'll show them all together, but I just picked one off the shelf to show you that I thought fit with kind of some springiness, and this is called Sunset. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful silk blend with a wonderful white bombyx silk. Not all of them have bombyx silk. Some of them have dyed silk. So this one's called Sunset, one of my favorites, and just a beautiful collection of colors. So that's all we have time for, but we do have some prizes to give away. And oh look, the girls are back. Come on, you guys. Come on in, we're gonna give away prizes. Thank you everybody for participating with us today. And thank you for all of your questions and all your contributions, and congratulations to all these artists. Bumper. But congratulations to all these artists. We're going to give away some prizes, and so we're going to draw some names. This is one of our favorite times of the day. So who's drawing first?
I'll go first.
Everybody wants to give away the prizes.
Karen Englebretson.
Yay! Right. Karen, congratulations. Tell her what she's won, Anne.
Karen, you have won a wet felting of flower kit. It's going to come with some merino tops, some merino silk blends, and some embellishments.
Nice.
Yay! Congratulations, Karen.
Alright, next, Leslie Lansing.
Yay! Leslie, congratulations. Tell her what she's won, Anne.
You have won your bird kit. This is our 3D bird kit for chickadees. It comes with MC1, some armature. It is a great introduction.
Yeah, we thought this would be a good first bird kit because he's not real and you can just make them any way you want. But you will learn how to make one way to make just at least a standing armature with the feet included. Yeah?
Nice.
Okay, good. One more.
Okay.
Pam gets to pick.
Here, Sherry Tamburo.
Yay! She's just over there in Louisiana.
Sherry, you have won your choice of 2 of our MC1 colors in 2-ounce increments. We just selected some colors that we thought were happy and springy today. This is Coral Reef and this is Berry. But you can email customerservice@livingfelt.com with your choices.
Nice.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for playing with us. Treat yourself well today. Do something good for yourself. We're going to do something good for ourselves. I think you guys are ready for popcorn, probably. I wish you guys a great Wednesday. And hey, listen, next week we have a very special guest. Kate Kaprowski of Handicraft Kate is going to be here to teach a class for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And so she's going to be our very special guest. And we're also going to have some of our community members here with us. So on that, probably sometime during those 3 days, we'll do some little video shots and bring you guys into the studio so you can see what we're making. Okay, guys.
Bye.